Hi, I'm Corey Morton,
And I'm Brianna.
and we are here to talk about stuttering and raise awareness for the National Stuttering Awareness Week, which is this week.
So for those of you that don't know, stuttering a is considered a fluency disorder, and it has both um, genetic and
Environmental.
environmental impacts.
hmm Well, like in my family, it's more of a genetic
And in my
cause.
family, I don't know of anybody else who stutters at all.
What are the causes?
The causes are really unknown, but there are um, so, scientists have assumptions of how it could be started. I mean, how it can be caused, well, such as genetics, that we mentioned before, um, environmental. Um,
One neurological reason for stuttering is because usually language is controlled by the left hemisphere of the brain, and it's been shown that stutterers use the right side, which is could be one of the causes for their stuttering.
mhm.
Is there a cure?
No,
There's no cure for stuttering.
if anybody tells you there's a cure, don't believe it.
No.
There are ways with speech therapy you can learn to control, or you can become more fluent, but it won't completely go away unless you grow out of it.
Out of the 6 to 8 million people worldwide who stutter, which is 1% of the world world's population, only 5% of those people who stutter would, 5% of people who stutter actually overcome it by the age of 5. But usually, um, past that point, you you would have to stutter for the rest of your life, and that's um, 3 million in the U.S., which is 1% in the United States as well.
Do you see stuttering as an obstacle in your life?
Oh yeah, stuttering is a hassle. I mean, and it has been a problem. It took me actually 23 years to get to the point where I can overcome it and deal with stuttering because I usually stutter more when I have a cold, and like I have a cold now, so I normally find myself stuttering so bad that I mean I can't find I almost don't care anymore. Like I just can't see myself stressing over it and feeling ashamed because that's almost I mean I'm going to deal with it for the rest of my life. So I mean,
Yeah, stuttering is a hassle for me too, mostly with talking on the phone, but uh, it it's a lot more of a hassle for me. But I'm working on like feeling more comfortable.
Brave, powerful, and strong are few characteristics of a hero. Kind, quiet, and shy are a few characteristics of me. But if you put them together, you still won't get the whole me. Because I am a rare breed. I take what bothers me and turn them into heroic deeds. See, I stutter like no other. But I want to find a cure so people can talk as smooth as butter. And although Columbus may be my kryptonite, I won't let it get me down tonight. Because I will find a cure. Help people's minds become pure and stand up for the misunderstood. So if you ever feel alone and drown in the quicksand, just give me your hand. Divided we fall, united we stand. Because I am Superman.
So, do confidence play a part of when you stutter, or who stutters?
oh yes, confidence does play a part.
hmm sometimes if you're more confident, it'll help you control the stutter more, as opposed to like when you're in a new situation and it can like come back up again.
Also, when you are confident, you are relaxed, you're at ease, and being tense and nervous is what makes you stutter more, because even if you have a stutter and you're confident, it'll flow better.
If you don't seek therapy in the beginning, do you still have a chance once you're older?
You have a chance of basically with they they can show you how to cope with it better, but usually if you don't get help by maybe 8 or 9, then you're gonna be probably stuck with it. But speech therapy can help you with the emotional aspect of it and just feeling confident.
Did you choose a career path that will highlight your strengths and eliminate stuttering?
At first, I wanted to, and I'm on the fence of doing it, because I'm choosing my career based on me wanting to find a cure and want to advocate. So I have to speak and communicate. So I'm in communication as well as social work. So I'm in a position to where I'm going to have to speak all the time. But I also have a skill in film. So if I had times to where I want to switch from broadcasting and just stick with film, where I wouldn't have to speak as much. But I feel like I wouldn't be a role model if I'd done that. So.
And I chose my field based on wanting to help others who stutter. So that's one thing that led me to wanting to become a speech pathologist and eventually specialize in fluency disorders, which is what stuttering is.
What stereotypes are associated with stuttering?
You're dumb. You're not as smart as other people. You don't speak well.
You're mentally unstable.
Mentally unstable. Or mentally ill. You can just easily overcome it. Like Nadal say, like, just don't be nervous this time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, that may help, but it's two different things. Sometimes nerves are not. You're gonna stutter, but being nervous while you're having a bad stutter can increase it. So of course when someone says that in that sense, then that means just calm down and then it'll be better, but it still won't eliminate stuttering. There's no way.
And some people are like, oh, just take your time or think about what you want to say, but that doesn't really help either, because if you stutter, and then sometimes even when you like take a pause, you can still stutter. Like taking the break doesn't always work.
No two people will stutter the same. So me and her does not have the same stutters. Each person's stutter is different. And I was watching a video once, and there was a guy who said he was stuttering in a grocery store, and while he was trying to, I don't know what it was, where he had to speak, people were looking at him like he was strange. So he pretended to be retarded just because he didn't want to be embarrassed. But I was disgusted about it, not only because of him and his actions, but the way people make people feel, because society does put that pressure on you to where you do all types of things to try to mask it or just give in to it. So and it's not right at all. And what I was mad at him for is that he didn't get over it. He gave in to it, and that's not what you're supposed to do, because you're giving people a reason to think badly about stuttering. It's just a stutter, and it's not nothing bad. So our brains is almost like a mini dictionary, because we think of words on the top of our head to prevent stuttering.
Do you find it offensive when people finish your sentences?
In some cases, yes. But there have been times to where I have been relieved. I was like, thank you, like, because because I know that it would have been bad, and sometimes when I'm tired and stressed out, like I said, when I have a cold or just being fatigued, I generally stutter more. So, therefore, I don't always be in the mood to go through the process of stuttering. So, if someone doesn't mind finishing what I have to say, then, be
Sometimes,
my guest.
sometimes I do get offended. It really just depends on like who's doing the correction. Though, like if my friends are doing it or like a family member, I don't really care. But like if a random person tries to finish, then I do get like upset.
You feel like you always have to explain yourself.
Oh, I feel like I always have to explain myself, and I always do explain myself when I'm in the mood to talk.
I don't really explain myself, even though I don't know, maybe I should, but I usually let people think either I talk slow, like I just naturally talk slow, or like my problem is with vowels. So I'll like if um if if a sentence starts with a vowel, I just may not say it. Like I just may leave the vowel out if it's a small one.
And it's kind of unique that I stutter more on consonants, and she stutters more on vowels. So every stutterer is different.
It's even more interesting because most people typically most people do just stutter on consonants and like not vowels.
Do you feel like you would be a different person if you didn't stutter?
I do feel I would be a different person.
Yeah.
At times, I mean, and I want to say the most positive thing, but I do feel like I would be a little better if I didn't stutter. However, I'm grateful that I have these experiences because I'm one of the few people who stutter, and I can be an example for someone. And I'm one of the rare people who's actually in a field to where I'm challenging myself every day with broadcasting classes, being on TV, even where I work. I work where I have to use the phone all the time. So I'm challenging myself. So I'm one of the people who can say that, oh, I'm not letting stuttering offend me, or I'm not letting stuttering stop me from being who I am. Although it has shaped me and hindered me in some ways, but I'm getting over it. So I guess my story can be a testimony for someone else.
I agree.
Okay, so what message do you want to leave for your viewers?
Be
Just
patient. Like if you hear somebody stuttering, just be patient and they'll get through it at some point.
oh yes, being patient is the best thing. We aren't separate creatures that came from another world. We are all human. So there isn't anything wrong with us. There isn't anything mentally wrong with us.
You can't catch stuttering either.
Yeah.
Some people do think that if you mimic another stutter, you're not gonna like suddenly start stuttering.
And then that's interesting experiences that I had, especially dealing with being in communication, and I started being in video production when I was in high school. And one thing I used to do is I used to have a show called For Your Help. On a particular episode of For Your Help, I talked about stuttering, but it's ironic, on that day before I went to class, I was about to ride the bus, and I caught a different bus. And when I was on the bus driver asked me my name, but I had trouble saying it. She kind of made me feel dumb, and she embarrassed me. So I was kind of subconscious when I did go to school, and when I was trying to do the show, I was trying to get someone else to fill in, so I wouldn't be the guest on back-to-back episodes of my own show. But no one else knew about it enough to talk about it, and I felt that it was my job to get over my insecurities that I was feeling, and to do the show. So I actually was self-conscious as I was doing it, but I feel I was the only one. So I'm glad I got over it to do that. I said I never give up. I always fight through it because I hate regretting, not saying what I want to say because it is hard. It's hard to be in a position to where you are hindered from saying what you want to say, how you want to say it, and when you want to say it. So um, the the more I try, the more I find myself avoiding it, it's the more I regret it. So I try not to do that.
One experience that I had was when I was in 8th grade, and I had a group of friends, and I had told them that I stuttered. I I don't know if they had ever actually heard me, but I did tell them. And so later we weren't friends anymore, but when we were in English class and I was reading something and I stuttered while I was reading and I got like blocked, and then the whole class laughed, including the teacher. She laughed too. And so I remember I just like went home and cried, and that really hurt my self-confidence. And so after that, I didn't really tell anybody else that I met. Like when I got to high school, I would just hide it. And I don't think I told anybody in high school that I stuttered.
I actually hit stuttering in high school, in middle school too. I used to hate being in the reading classes and the history classes because we had to read out loud, and I used to try to avoid it. I used to try to read ahead so I can know where I'm going to stutter on and how to avoid that paragraph or think of some techniques that I would be able to use. Also in high school, I remember putting on glasses to pretend I couldn't see to avoid reading, but normally it didn't help. I do remember one time where I had to say the Pledge of Allegiance or sing the Star Spangled Banner out loud, but since I don't like to sing, I was going to just word it. So I pretended that I forgot, even though I knew it verbatim. So I got out of it just because I just pretended I didn't remember it, and I did so many. Some things I look back now it's kind of funny. Some things is kind of sad because like I could have fought through it, but I didn't give myself that chance. But I mean, I have a lot of funny stories, so I mean, at the end of the day, I can laugh at some of my experiences. So it's just good memories and learning lessons for me.
Well, thank you guys for sharing your experiences and knowledge about stuttering and supporting the National Stuttering Month.